Let's start. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. So tonight is interesting. The first little paragraph is actually a very little paragraph. It's only 3 lines. It's called Right Livelihood. Everybody knows about livelihood. Everybody knows about this right livelihood. So we don't really need to go into very much detail. So right livelihood. Okay. Where does right livelihood come from in the Buddha's teachings? Okay, Laurie, the teacher is very willing to speak up now.
From the Eightfold Noble Path, it's the 5th one, I think.
Well done. Full mark. Thank you. No prize. Okay, yes. So, 1450. You get a PDF file online. That's good. Okay. Yeah, okay, you pay to get a PDF file. That's good. Okay, so right livelihood is the one of the factors in the Eightfold Noble Path. And in here it says that there are 5 traits, O monks, you should not be taken up by a householder. Okay, the first one is trading in weapons. We all know why trading in weapons is not right livelihood, right? Trading in weapons. Okay, so second one is trading in living beings. Living beings. What do you think that this living beings include? Does it include living fish, living... is that Maria putting her hand up? Yeah, okay, Maria. You have to okay, Catherine said prostitute. Okay, Maria, you have to unmute yourself. There you go.
I think it could be one of 2 things. It could be, or both, slavery.
Slavery.
As in human beings, and also trading in animals.
Animals, yeah. And Catherine said prostitutes too. Yes, prostitutes too. Yeah, trading in animals like cattle, pigs, chickens, goose, moose. Oh yeah. They trade moose, right? They sell moose.
No, I'm saying like in this, like having animals in cages in the zoos.
Yeah, in the zoos. Yeah.
Just having people.
Yeah. Is that Jeremy? Okay.
A quick question on that. Dana's family, they have the dairy farm, and I won't work there anymore because they're milking cows, and I see it as unwholesome.
Yeah.
Is that the right? Am I looking at that correctly?
Yes. Because the milking cows is really unnatural, right? Unnatural for the cows, and it's not just milking. After they have actually gone through the milking life, then they get slaughtered, right?
Yeah.
And their babies get taken away to make veals, right?
Yes, that's one of the things that really bothers me is the babies are taken away.
Yeah.
And put into pens after only like 2 days.
2 days, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, and yes.
Yeah,
No, I stopped working a long time ago there, and that was,
good.
I thought so as well. Thank
Yeah,
you.
good. Okay. Did Nora pull up?
Sifu, what about children? Would you put that under this category too? Like children that are being used to make things and stuff? You know, in some countries where.
Oh, you mean the cheap labor,
yeah.
sort of like. Well, if that is illegal, of course, that is considered to be not a right livelihood. But if it is legal in the country, like when I was little, we all worked together with our mother, making beads. This is how we make ends meet. Beads, flowers, plastic flowers. It's illegal, but we don't go and get those things. My mom go and get those things and bring them home. So we do it ourselves. But if it is really, if it is like they gather all these children and force them to work in there and not going home, not feeding them properly, then it's illegal. It's illegal, then this is not right livelihood. Yeah, okay, yeah. Did Nora have something to say? Yeah, Nora have something, no? Unmute her, she has to mute herself. Unmute her. Nora, there you go.
You already said it.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Tisa. You're all getting very good with this Zoom. You're better than me now. You have to unmute yourself, Tisa. There you go, Tisa.
Okay, right?
Yeah.
This may be somewhat contentious in the sense, I'm not saying I'm disagreeing with that. Now, for example, if you take not necessarily the cows or the chicken and the regular animals that we know, what about the honeybees? They are living beings. They are being traded. So you are not killing them.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Honeybees. You can also say that, but people don't kill honeybees.
Yes, but they do trade, though.
They do trade, but it's a fair trade, though. Right? It's a fair trade. This means fair trade. It doesn't. You see, cattle and all those is a fair trade, but those cattle are eventually being killed and slaughtered.
Yes, yeah.
That's different. That's different. Yeah.
Slaughtered for their meat, yeah.
Yeah. It's actually quite different. Maria, your hands colors are exactly like your bookshelves. So we never see that you have your hands up. So you have to like this. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yeah. Maybe it's the intent of what you're going to do.
Of course,
when you're
yeah.
with that living being. Like if it's
Everything.
your intention, like
Everything. Yeah. Everything talks about the intent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're looking after honeybees, it's for a good reason.
Yeah.
If you're treating in human beings to work for you.
Yeah.
Under adverse conditions, that's just not a good thing.
Right. Yep. Good. Laurie, okay. Do you want Sensi to help you to? Yeah, because you're. Okay, Laurie, please.
Okay, so it confuses me when it says not to trade in living beings, because in my mind I think slavery.
Yes, slavery it is. It is considered.
And just a little bit further down in the proper use of wealth, you're supposed to properly maintain them in happiness, your wife, children, and your slaves.
But mind you, that is the old tradition in India. Slaves is actually one of the tradition. It's a tradition that they have run for for many years in their history, in their culture. And even with slaves, if you don't look after them, right? You can be very nice to slaves, but you can be very bad to slaves. Okay? So we can go. We can get to that later on.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So then the next one is trading in meat, any sort of meat, human meat, animal meat, human meat. You never know. Blood in blood. Yeah. I mean, selling blood, selling organs, right? That's trading. That's illegal tradings. And yeah, I mean, yeah, in China they used to sell blood, but not anymore nowadays. And I don't know whether in other parts of the world they do. Nobody knows. Yeah, but but China stopped selling blood a few years back, many years back now. So, and then trading in intoxicants. So we all know intoxicants include liquor, drugs. Anything else? Everything that could intoxicate your mind. Huh? Liquor. Yeah. And
What about pornography?
of course, pornography, yeah.
That would be considered intoxicant, right?
It could be considered intoxicants, yes. Intoxicants, because it intoxicates the mind. And I think some of those video games could also be intoxicants. Those killing video games, could be intoxicants, okay? And trading in poisons. You think that people still trade in poisons? Of course. Biological weapon. Nuclear weapon. Yeah? Those are poisons. Yeah. Okay? So, right livelihood. So, for householder. Okay? So, of course, sometimes, go back to the question of Jeremy. Of course, sometimes when you don't really have any choice, then you are forced to work in some kind of, a dairy farm or chicken farm or whatever, in order to bring food to the whole family. Otherwise, they will be starved. Then what can you do, right? Then you have to prioritize. Then every day you go to work, then you bring metta with you. You bring metta with you. Or in the Chinese tradition, Mahayana tradition, you bring a Buddha's name with you, and in your mind you keep chanting and chanting and chanting. And every morning you make a vow, may I get out of this job as soon as possible, may I get another job sooner. Okay, so inevitably, if you really cannot get out from those jobs, then you need to make some devotional practices. Okay, all right, good. So the next paragraph we comes to is the proper use of wealth. So this one is addressed, the whole teaching is addressed to Anathapindika. You know who is Anathapindika? In Chinese, I case 孤獨園長者. Anathapindika is 孤獨園長者. Okay, so Anathapindika was one of the very well-off householder disciples of the Buddha at that time, who actually supported the Buddha and the Sangha a lot. And he built the Jeta Grove, monastery, the Jetavana monastery. So here the Buddha said, with the wealth acquired by energetic striving, amassed by the strength of his arms, like what we said in last week. So there are four ways that the wealth should be spent and properly. So the proper use of wealth, four 4 ways. First is he makes himself happy and pleased and properly maintains himself in happiness. So how could he maintain his himself happy and pleased and properly maintains himself in happiness? Further on, it says here, how could he maintain himself happy? Is I think it's next paragraph. 5 kinds of offering. No, this is no. Okay, let's go on. So he makes his parents happy and pleased. Okay, this is the first case. And then he makes his wife and children, his slaves, workers, servants, happy and pleased. Okay, then he makes his friends. You can see this is like a circle. It spreads from the center. He himself is the one in the center, and then his parents, and then his wife, his children, his slaves, his workers, anybody who is in the closer proximity with him. Then you would think, how come the parents are in the inner circle, but not the children and the wife? Why? Mark, can you help her? Because she has problem. Okay, Mark, please.
Because his parents gave birth to him.
Exactly. The parents gave birth to him. The parents gave the body, gave this human life. So we need to look after our parents. That's the first priority, to look after the parents. But is that the priority nowadays? No. A lot of us, or not a lot of us, a lot of the people actually don't pay attention to their parents at all. Yeah, whether they have family or they don't have family. Of course, if they have family, they spend more attention with their family, with their children, rather than paying attention to their parents. There's a song I love, I like so much. It just come up to my mind. It's called "Cats in the Cradle." Have you heard that song? "Cats in the Cradle" by Harry Chapin. And the song, actually the lyrics were written by his wife when the son was born. And the meaning of the song, something like this, is, he said the child come to earth, and then I'm sure that he will be like me. So when the child was young, his son was asking, "Dad, can you play football with me? Or can you take me here? Or he said, "No, I'm sorry, I'm busy. I'm so busy." So the boy start going to college, and seldom see the parents again. So once in a while, the boy come back home maybe for Christmas. He didn't say in the song, but for Christmas, for holidays. And the dad said, "How have you been? And can we sit down and have a coffee and have a chit chat?" "Oh, sorry, Dad, I'm busy. But something. Can I borrow your car keys?" You remember that? You remember the lyrics of the song? It's so great. I love this song. And then eventually the boy get married and moved away and had a job and have children. And he always constantly calling the boy up. And the boy said, "Oh, Dad, I wish I could come and talk to you. I wish we could have a chit chat. We could have sit down, have a coffee. But I'm so busy. My job is so busy, and the child is sick." So you can see, when we were little, when we were little, our parents, especially the mother, actually looked after, or some father, looked after us. But some of the parents do get so busy that they forget to pay attention to their children. And when the children grow up, and they forget to pay attention to their parents. So you can see the teaching here with the Buddha teaching is the parents come first. Parents come first. Okay? And then the wife and the children. And then the slaves and the workers and the servants, happy and pleased. So Laurie, go back to your question. Why slave? But you see, these slaves, if they are being sold, of course, is not a correct kind of livelihood. But this is a culture in that country in those days. But if you are being sold to a family who are not nice to you, you're just really miserable. But there are some families who are very, very, very nice to slaves. And they could treat them as their own families. And same as in Africa, in the old days of Africa, right? They had slaves. Yeah, Laurie, want to say something, please? Laurie, you should let her do it.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, Laurie.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have slaves and they're part of your family, and your slaves' children are part of your family, that's one thing. But I suppose if you were trading in slaves and selling off your slaves' children,
then that is a wrong livelihood. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In those days, I could see.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
It seems so jarring to read that there at first.
Well, you know what? You don't think it happens in a Western country?
Slave trade? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's very hidden. It's not open.
Exactly. It's just that it's not very open. You don't see it. That's all. You don't hear about it. I'm sure down south in those cowboy counties, there used to be a lot of those going on. Yeah. So yeah, it's jarring anywhere in the world. In the human world. Okay. So this is, he said, Carrie. Okay, Carrie. Carrie.
Hi.
Yeah.
It doesn't say they use their wealth to help the homeless. And I'm thinking maybe slaves were what the homeless were back in that day.
Not necessarily, but the slaves, they are really the lowest caste. They are not necessarily they were not necessarily homeless, right, Versha? Yeah, not necessarily homeless. But once you are in that lowest caste, you will never be able to rise above that caste. So if you are a slave, you are always a slave. That's a sad thing. There is no way out. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the Buddha said this is the first case of proper use of wealth. So then the second case, he said, with the wealth gained, he makes provisions against the losses that might arise on account of fire and floods, kings and bandits, and unloved heirs. He makes himself secure against them. So that means he protects them, right? He protects all these wealth that he has. And unloved heirs. So that means the children, the families. So he make provisions against the losses of these unloved heirs, unless they they divide those wealth way before they die. Then after they die, then there will, if not, then after they die or at the deathbed, there will be definitely arguments and quarrels and fights over this inheritance. And I think we see that in the old days, we see that nowadays, and we see that in the future. It happens all the time because of people craving for wealth. Okay, so this is the second case. So the third case, he said, is he makes 5 kinds of offerings. So he offered his wealth, 5 different kinds. First is to relatives. So uncles, aunts, everybody. Second is to guests. And I think guest here means friends, not just any guest. Friends, maybe good friends. And ancestors. You think offerings to ancestors. What do they do? What do they do offerings to ancestors? In the old days, Versha. Okay, Versha, unmute yourself. There you go.
Perhaps through ceremonies.
Ceremonial, yeah. Ceremonial things like they may kill a goat to offer, or bring some gold earrings to offer. Yeah. What else, Versha?
We also have a tradition in India that on a particular day we give offerings to Brahmins in the name of our ancestors. So we give out gifts and food, and so it's a ceremony where you're spreading offerings on behalf of your ancestors.
Oh, okay. Just like the Mahayana traditions. Yeah. Maria, hands up. Okay. All right, Maria.
In the First Nations traditions here, they have a day where they actually feed the ancestors.
They burn the food.
They actually, what they do is everybody attends, everybody brings a certain plate or a dish that they know a loved one would have liked. And this dish of food or clothing or whatever it be goes into a fire.
Oh, it could be clothing too.
Sorry?
It could be clothing too.
As well.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
But it's more based around the food, but if you would like to offer a set of clothing for a loved one, then you can, there's a special way to wrap it.
Yeah.
And then it's given to one of the elders, and the elders place it into the fire.
I see. That's so nice to hear different traditions. Yeah.
Pretty moving ceremony.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. So in the Chinese tradition, we also, in the Chinese tradition also there are offerings to ancestors, and the Mahayana Buddhist traditions is also offering to ancestors too. So in the Chinese tradition, what do we have? Bai San, huh? So we go a pig. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. No. Those are the no. We burn papers. The burnt papers, they are in Vietnam too, right? Burnt papers. The papers have a square of gold and a square of silver in the center. Assembled money. Paper clothes, yeah. Paper clothes, paper radios. Paper, now it's paper iPads. So that is the Chinese tradition, the cultural tradition. And there's one funny thing is now because they make iPads, paper iPads, so I said make sure they burn paper iPads charger. Otherwise they don't have a charger, then it's not going to be any use. And also make sure they put the name of Steve Jobs there. If there is any problem, go and ask Steve Jobs down there. Ask him to fix it for you. That's what I said to people when they buy these iPads, paper iPads. In the old days in China, I don't know whether you heard about the 秦始皇個墓叫咩墓啊？有冇英文名啊？ There is a 墓係 dome 啊， like is it called a dome? A cemetery, huh? Yeah. Where you bury people in there? Huh? A mausoleum. But in the old days in China, in Chun Dynasty, way back, how many years? 4,000 years? 秦朝喎，同我睇下秦始皇。They bury horses together with the emperor. They put all sorts of things in there, like in Egypt, right? Egyptian people, what do they put into their pyramids? Not just mummies. They put all sorts of things into the pyramids. That's kind of offerings to ancestors. Okay, but of course, in the Buddhist way, is offering to ancestors. The best offering to ancestors is what? You recite sutta. You recite to sutta. You offer to sangha. You give to monastics, and may the merits be shared by my ancestors. That's the best offering. Okay. 幾錢啊？秦朝喎。Yeah, it's way before it's BC time. The Chun dynasty is before BC time. It's BC time. So that is big. It's not called Mussolinium. I don't know what's the name of how you call this. But anyway, Ophelia 知唔知啊？點樣講啊？秦俑個兵馬俑啊 ，Ophelia。Mussolinium. Oh, okay. Mussolinium. All right. Okay. And then offers to the king. The king, really? King needs our offering?
Of course.
Why? Why? Why do you need to offer to the king, Maria and Laurie? Hey, unmute. Yeah, Maria. Okay.
Because the king looks after you and looks after your country and makes sure you're safe.
Yeah.
And he's good. He distributes his wealth and
yeah.
He's just a good person.
Your budgie said that you gave a good answer. Your budgie was agreeing with you. Is that your budgie there? Okay, Laurie, what did she say? Laurie.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say similar. It's like paying taxes to the government.
Paying taxes, yes. Oh, Kwok drop his book once you talk about paying taxes. Yeah, paying taxes. Well, the king, if a good king, they really look after their people. So we need to actually look after the king also, right? And because we respect them, they are sitting in such a place, they must have their merits, and we respect people with such merits, right? So the king and the devas, of course we know why we have to offer to the devas, right? So that is the 5 kinds of offerings to these people. Okay, that is the 3rd case. Then the 4th case. This is an important case. He said, establishes a lofty offering of alms to those ascetics and Brahmins who refrain from vanity and negligence, okay, and who are settled in patience and gentleness, and also who are devoted to taming and calming themselves. That means what? Developing, cultivating samadhi. And patience and gentleness, right? Tolerance and metta. Okay? And then who are devoted, this last part is the most important, is the devotion to attaining Nibbana. So, it's not just talking about any ascetics. It's really talking about ascetics who actually vowed to walk on the path, to cultivate all this patience, gentleness, devoting to taming, calming, and who are devoted to attaining Nibbana. Not just any ascetics, not just any Brahmins. Bear in mind, because the Buddha always say, neither end of the spectrum is correct, right? Self-mortification or self-indulgence, right? He said, only right in the middle. So when he talks about these ascetics, really not meaning those ascetics who really don't wear any clothes at all, or don't just eat one grain of one grain of rice every day. No, he doesn't mean that. He means people who are really, walking on this path and settled in patience and gentleness, and very important is who are devoted to attaining Nibbana. That is a strong vow, and that is a very difficult path. And an offering that is heavenly, resulting in happiness conducive to heaven. Okay, so this is actually telling the householder to support those sangha, those monastics, those people who actually vow to actually devote themselves to taming and calming and developing in all these wonderful qualities. And mostly is actually devoting to attain Nibbana. And you can actually read from Dhammapada verse 219 and 220 is actually talking about a very wealthy boy. He's called Nadia, and he built a monastery in Isipatana and gave it to the Buddha. So when Mahamoggallana, he has this supernatural power. He went to tour in the Devas world, and he saw a mansion with many nymphs inside. And Mahamoggallana asked these deities in this heavenly realm, and he asked, who does this mansion belong to? And they tell him it belongs to Nadia. He said, why? Nadia is still living in the human world. Why does he have a mansion here? So those devas tell him, because he has built and offered a monastery to the Buddha in the human world. So Mahamoggallana returned to the human world, and he went to see the Buddha. He said, dear teacher, may I ask you a question? And the Buddha said, yeah, sure. And Mahamukkananda said, I saw this mentioned in the Deva's world, and I saw all these nymphs there. And I asked these deities who this mansion belonged to, and they told me it's Nandiya. How could such a person living on earth has already got a mansion waiting for him in the celestial world? And is that true? The Buddha said, Mahamukkananda, did you see yourself in the Deva's world? Did you see that mansion yourself? And Mahamukkananda said, yes, I did. So that is true. You saw it yourself, and that is true. Because, why? Because Nandiya actually did such a good, wholesome generosity act while on earth. As soon as he built this on earth, there was a mention in the celestial world because of the tremendous merits. You see why every Dhamma sharing at the end, I would tell you about the construction of Polam and ask you to, what, to chip in as much as possible or as much as you can afford to? Because it's in all the teachings of the Buddha is to be able to help or to be able to chip in to build a monastery in a lifetime is very, 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 very rare. And especially in Canada, it's even rarer and rarer and rarer. Very rare. And you offer a brick here, there is a brick in one of the mansions in the Deva's world. Maybe not the whole mansion, but at least there is one brick there. That means you have a part of that mansion there. And I remember my teacher, Sifu, said to us, because at that time there was somebody who was actually had problems, had difficulty, and always saying that he was possessed. And so my Sifu said, well, you go home and drew Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, Dijang Posat. So he painted, he draw, and he looked at the paintings and he painted, and really ugly Dijang Posat, very not very good looking Dijang Posat. And he brought it back to show us. And I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know how to draw and I didn't know how to paint, and I have no rights to comment. But it was not really like good looking. And you know what Sifu said? Sifu said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If anybody on this human world have drawn one Dijang Posat painting, there will be one more Dijang Posat in other world. In the health realm, there will be one more Dijang Posat. Whether it's ugly, whether it's good looking, doesn't matter. And he said the health realm need a lot of Dijang Posat. Wow, it was so like eye-opening. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Big or small, pretty or not pretty, doesn't matter. What matters is you do it. You do it. Okay? So you can see, you go and read, Dhammapada 219 and 220, the verse. And that's what the Buddha actually explained to Mahamukkananda, is that anybody who has done works of merit here, when they leave this world and goes to the next one, the heavenly deities will look after them, will welcome them like they see the family members who have left home for a long time. And they say, wow, here they come, they're coming back now. You see? Okay? So a family man's happiness. Did we read this? Yeah, we did. A family man's happiness. Okay. So family man's happiness of possession. And there are four. The happiness of possessions. That means I possess wealth acquired by energetic striving, righteously gained. He experiences happiness just by having the wealth. Okay? By energetic striving, like in the last chapter, last subchapter we talk about. And the happiness of enjoyment. I enjoy my wealth and I do my meritorious deeds. He experiences happiness and joy every day. Because why? Because he do meritorious deeds and he doesn't have to worry about, money. He doesn't have to worry about having no roof. Everything is taken care of because of such wealth. But on the other hand, he do meritorious deeds. So he experiences happiness and joy. Okay, and then the happiness of freedom from debt. So we all know if we don't owe anybody anything, then there is kind of ease and peace at heart, isn't it? But if you owe somebody something, even not money, even though you promise them to do something and you don't do it, oh, that kind of feeling is hanging there all the time, right? So this debt not necessarily means monetaries. It could be anything. To me, when I understand this, it could be anything. Whether small or great, whether it's money or whether it's anything else. So don't just promise it so easily. Make sure you can keep it before you promise. Otherwise, you'll be in debt to others. So, okay? So he experiences joy and the happiness of blamelessness. So what does he mean by this? He said in this chapter, it says because he's endowed in blameless conduct. That means he's endowed in pure body, speech, and mind conduct. That's why he experiences happiness and joy. So these are the four kinds of happiness that a layperson who enjoys, even layperson who enjoys sensual pleasures, could achieve. And depending on time and occasion, of course, depending on time of occasion, if at the time and the occasion is not right, then you don't get an opportunity. That's all, right? So though in here you can see that the Buddha really did not despise householder who actually enjoy sensual pleasures. He didn't say that you should not enjoy sensual pleasures. He said here, even though a layperson who enjoys sensual pleasures may achieve these kind of happiness. So don't worry. It's okay for you to enjoy some sensual pleasures, but not attach too much, that's all. Okay? Don't crave too much, that's all. Okay? Make sure that you are enjoying the right kind of pleasures, not from intoxicants, not from pornography, but from right kind of watching an inspiring movie, listening to peaceful music, classical music. Those are sensual pleasures, but those are enjoyable. Those are okay. Make sure you don't go to the wrong side. And then you cultivate the right kind of happiness for yourself. You are not a monk, you are not a nun, so don't suppress yourself too much. Okay? And having the right middle path, that is correct for householder. Okay, so reflections. So what is the basis for the proper or the correct livelihood? The basis of the basic principles. 5 precepts, okay. Okay, Laurie? There you go. Oops. You are too fast. There you go. Okay, there you go. Oops. It's jumping here and there. There you go, Laurie.
I was just thinking the basis for proper livelihood would be moral living, morality. Isn't it?
Say that again, please.
Living a moral life?
Living a moral life, yes, yes, yes. Sansi said, Thousand Si said, the 5 precepts. Yeah, moral life. And Ophelia in Toronto said, the right intention. You're all correct. And because you are living a moral life, because you have the right intention of not causing harm and hurt to others, to yourself and to others, mainly to others first, then that is the moral, a good livelihood. Okay? All right. So, the 4 ways to use the wealth. Do you think that there is a sequential step or a proportion or a priority? Okay, Laurie, you're so fast. Have you really read my question already? Okay, there you go.
No, but it really struck me when I read that list, the 4 ways that
to use the wealth.
Yeah, the monastics and the Brahmins, and they were at the 4th, and I thought, is that the right order? Is this list in an order?
Ah.
It really struck me.
Ah.
I was going to ask you that question, actually.
Ah, now I have this question to you. What do you think?
I think it's in the wrong order.
But remember, I mentioned something just now. Depending on time and occasion. So if you live in a place with no monastic, if you never know what is a Buddha Sangha is, how are you going to offer to them?
Okay.
Is that right?
Okay.
Is that right comprehension about those 2 words? Depending on time and occasion.
Time and occasion, yeah.
It parallels the Mahamangala Sutta.
Yeah, yeah. Eva said that it parallels the Mahamangala Sutta, and I agree. Versha? Versha?
It also reminds me of what we talk about with metta, that you can't give something if you don't have it yourself. So to allow yourself some happiness will allow you to also be more generous and to send out more.
Yeah, good. So these 4 ways, so do you agree that it's a sequential step then? 1 step, first case, second case, third case, fourth case? No. Who says no? Okay, wow, Paul yeah. Paul already put up his hand, no. No, there is no sequential step. It depends on time and occasion. Remember, that means opportunity. Isn't it? Time and occasion is opportunity. So when the opportunity is here, grasp it. If the opportunity is not here, even though you want to grasp it, you can't get it. You can't do it. Yeah? Opportunity. So proportion and priority. No proportion, no priority. Any opportunity that comes up, just use it. Use it fast. I mean, really make full use of it when that opportunity is there. Because why? It can just go like this, and well, that opportunity never come back again. Okay? All right. So wealth gone to good use, fruitfully applied and used for a worthy cause, basing on what kind of principles? What kind of principles? Wealth gone to good use, like you spend. How are you going to really give your wealth, make your wealth in good use? What kind of principle you're going to base on when you give this wealth? What kind of principle? Maria. Try again. Yeah. There you go, Maria.
Would one be giving without any expectation?
Good. No reward. Good.
Looking for rewards or...
Yeah, or praise or comments. Yeah. Anything else?
More, I just can't put it in.
Do you understand this question though? Oh, Carrie. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Carrie. There you go. Oops. There you go. Okay.
Generosity.
Generosity, yeah. That's good too. Yeah. And generosity is the first, actually, the first parami in the sixth parami in the Mahayana tradition. Of course, in the Theravadan tradition, there are 10 paramis. In the Chinese tradition, the Mahayana tradition is 6 parami. And the first is Bo-si, is generosity, giving. Okay, good. Any kind of other principles that you can think of? Emptiness. So how can you further explain about that, Ophelia? Unmute you. Can you speak from your mic, Ophelia? Okay.
We don't, of course, one of the emptiness is we don't have the expectation that we're getting reward.
Yes.
And I think the person who is giving and the person who is receiving, and the things that we are giving, all three are not, how to say that, is home, is
empty. Shunnata.
Empty, yeah. It's not, yeah, I don't know how to say it in English.
You said it, it's empty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's all because of time and occasion. Yeah, good. I wanted to share a little story with you. It was 28 years ago. 28 years ago, before I became a nun, I was in China, Wutaisan, together with my sifu. And then every morning we came out from the monastery to go to visit those other monasteries. And in the old days, the old days, that means 28 years ago, the outside of the monasteries were lined up with little, like very little paupers, beggars, young ones, very young, little children. They're all lining up. So my sifu will give like 5 cents, 5 cents, 5 cents, 5 cents. So he has a whole pocket of 5 cents in his pocket, and 5 cents, 5 cents. So we went out, we spent the day out, and then we come home like we're going back to the monastery at like 2:30, 3 o'clock, something like that. So we walked back up into the monastery, and then those little paupers are still there. The young little paupers are still there. So he gave 5 cents, same paupers. So 1 day, 2 days, the 3rd day I asked him a question. I said, Sifu, those are the same paupers days in, days out. And you give every day? He said, yeah, I give every day. I give to everybody. I said, but I'm sure they are fake. He said, yeah, the fake is in your mind. The fakeness is in my mind. The fakeness is not in my sifu's mind. The fakeness is in my mind. He said, when you give, you don't judge that person, whether he's a real pauper or he's not. He's the fake pauper. And what is he going to use my money for? Or maybe he goes to buy meat, maybe he goes to buy cigarette, maybe he goes to whatever. It's none of your business. You give, you give. You don't judge. And after you've given, you go away, you walk away, you forget about it. That's what Ophelia meant. You know, whether you're giving, is you giving, or you giving to others, or the things that you are giving, all these 3 things are empty. It's all dependent origination. If there are no paupers, there's no way that we can give. If we have no money, we cannot give. If we were not there, we will not be able to give. Right? It's time and occasion. It's all time and occasion. So that's why I said those 2 words you have to pay attention to. All right. Nothing else? Okay, there you go. Dedication of merits. May these blessings extend to all, that we, with all the other living beings, together will attain the Buddha way. May more and more people will encounter the words of the Buddha, the wise words of the Buddha, study them, practice them, and help themselves to untie all those entanglements and be ultimately free, happy, and peaceful.